Last Pint Productions presents the New Way podcast. The New Way contains adult content, including road trips featuring the following exchange.
Are we there yet?
No.
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 Enough! For crying out loud. Listener discretion is advised.
Are we there yet?
No.
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 My shoulder doesn't hurt very much, but my face does. Right here. Not here or here so much, but right here.
It's got a cop motor, a 440 cubic inch plant. It's got cop tires, cop suspension, cop shocks.
I look for the one guy who isn't getting off, and I make him get off.
Where's your other hand? Between two pillows. Those aren't pillows.
Everybody wants to be naked and famous. Everybody wants to be just like me. I'm naked.
Will you help teach me about this? What is it? A new way?
Hello, you beautiful bastards, and welcome to another edition of the New Way podcast with Ben, Nick, and a lot of love. I think that's the missing that's the other ingredient, the other player in this. It's a love of movies, a love of one another.
It's what we need right now.
It's
it is love.
It's a love of
as a matter of fact,
phase on love.
You could say penises.
You stepped on my phase on love joke.
Nick, all you need is love.
All you need is love.
You could do anything you imagine.
Yeah. Set your mind to anything.
Let's get that sip of beer before we start. Are you ready now?
Yeah, we're running. This is it. This is what the people.
This is the thing.
This is what the people did not pay to listen to.
Hey, if they've been listening so far, they can wait for me to take a sip of my beer.
Yeah, I don't think anybody cares. I think
I disagree.
We have no advertisers that we are beholden to
Yet.
I do look forward to the day where we're gonna be like, we have to pause to do like a plug of some weird product, like
McCormick's Pocket Pussies,
like
the best pocket pussies in the industry.
My Smelly Box, mysmellybox.com, where you can find the best kitty litter for your cat's smelly box.
It's a good read.
Smelly Box. Yeah.
And our next sponsor is Go Fresh. Smelly Box and Go Fresh.
So
McKinley's douches.
So before we get into the podcast at hand, it's been a weird fucking week.
It's been a weird 2 weeks, actually.
Yeah.
It's been 2 weeks since we've been on air. So
yeah, we had a September wall-to-wall September podcast, which is pretty awesome.
Are you talking about our podcast schedule or the reality that we're living in?
The reality that we are living in.
The reality.
Okay, good. Yeah, it's been crazy.
Well, and this is a good test because I'm fairly positive my mom no longer listens to the podcast in any sort of regular manner. But we had so you had your bit with your dad a little bit. I had mine with my mom last night on the phone where we're talking about the political landscape that's out there. And for the first time, I get as close as I'm going to get with her, which is I won't say what I did in November because I consider that to be a personal decision. But I will say I'm not happy with how things are right now.
Oh, okay.
And I go, okay. I'm okay with that. Look, no one.
You gotta take your win where you can get it in this world.
That's kind of where I figured. It's like, and no one says that. No one's so roundabout about that unless they have something that they don't want to admit to. Like no one's ever.
Well, listen. Trump's bread and butter with his supporters are, they in honor. I hate to say this, but in honor of Tom Petty, they don't ever back down. They take a stance, and you pry that stance from their cold, dead fingers, and it's irreversible. It can never evolve. And if someone's able to say that my grandmother had a great dinner with us one day where she said, she apologized to my mother for driving her to the post office to mail her ballot. And that was a really big deal because people who are in on Trump are all in on Trump. And now we're finally seeing people finally start to kind of say, "Ooh, wait a minute."
And who knew it would be Puerto Rico that would be sort of the tipping point of all of this, which is sort of poetic in terms.
I mean, honestly,
Trump,
I don't
the
think
quicker fucker-upper.
Puerto Rico was not the tipping point. I mean, there's been multiple tipping points throughout.
I have watched him weather a lot of tipping points, but
not the weather. He can't weather the weather.
The Puerto Rico video was one of the most just like there's no spin. There is no spin whatsoever. Everything else, there was some way around it. There was some whatever. But
well, it's like the Ray Rice video in the elevator. It's like
let's not get into
seriously,
that.
If you have video,
it's actually a pretty good comparison.
It changes everything. Seeing a visual, he could say whatever he wants from the camera. That's boring. Callously throwing out like a free T-shirt at a sporting event to hurricane victims. And I read somewhere that he also had cans of chicken next to him. That he was going to throw the cans of chicken.
He was throwing out a can of chicken.
He was apparently quote quietly encouraged not to throw the cans of chicken into the crowd, and he ended up not doing that. Luckily,
don't throw the metal cans of things, but. Other than politics and everything else that's fucking going crazy in the world right now, we did lose we lost an artist this week that. So I'm a as most of the listeners out there know, and everyone in this room is painfully aware of, I'm a very casual music fan, and I don't know a lot about music. And Tom Petty, who passed away this week, is one of those artists that is really not appreciated until they're gone fully, right? I think there are...
That's bullshit. I mean, for me, at least. But
I mean, as far as...
In musical crowds, absolutely. But one thing you're saying is I saw on Facebook outpouring from conservative friends, from liberal friends. He touched everybody in a way that they weren't even really maybe even aware of.
It's more of a taking him for granted in that. So you lose somebody like Bowie and Prince, these are people that are like trailblazers.
You think about, I mean, Tom Petty was voted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2002. I mean, like him and the Heartbreakers have been around for so long. They were literally almost first ballot. I mean, but that's
what I mean. But I still think it's a taken for granted type thing.
What Matt's saying is he's one of those artists that was still making music, and then when he's gone, everybody takes notice, and it is a taking for granted because we expected him to keep making music. He played the Hollywood Bowl 2 days before he died. He was still making music, just like Prince was still making music and touring, and just like Bowie was still making albums and touring. It's one thing to have somebody like Tony Bennett who will stop singing for a couple years and eventually go and fade away, but this seems sudden and particularly heartless.
It's not only just so Prince died young and Bowie died. I mean, they're all dying at similarly young ages.
I mean, it's happening. It's happening.
Prince was young.
But the difference is okay, so Tom Petty played here recently. A year ago? Did you go to the concert?
I did not.
If Prince was playing here like a year ago and it was an easy ticket to get, like a Petty ticket, you go see Prince.
So here's
right?
the only reason why I would have seen Prince is because I have actually seen Petty live twice. And
only once for me.
Great concert.
It was the first time I ever smelled weed. Truly, it was the very first time I smelled weed.
Actually, I never saw Petty in my adolescence when I was obsessed with Tom Petty. I mean, Tom Petty was my first musical obsession.
Okay. I remember you talking about that in the Gadwell Lane podcast. That was the first answer, no hesitation. Tom Petty, biggest influence.
No. Tom Petty was my first. Can you pull down the music a little bit?
Oh no, I was digging it.
No, I'm digging it, but it's.
But Ben digs his own voice more than Tom Petty.
He's getting poignant, and I hear you.
Keep going. Do it.
And I actually said it on Facebook, which I don't typically respond that often on Facebook to like people to artists or celebrities dying or for any sort of thing like that. But I did have to say that Full Moon Fever was the first album that I did memorize. I knew every single word to every song from beginning to back, and it was the first album I ever bought. I had the tape for and I had the CD for.
Nice.
And it was the first CD I ever remember purchasing. It was probably 1990 or 1991, right? You know, when that was starting to become a thing. And it's not nowhere near Tom Petty's. I mean, it's definitely his worst solo effort, probably. I mean, it's no Wildflowers. It's no Wildflowers. I mean, like, Wildflowers is almost a perfect album if you're talking about a solo career. And stuff with the Heartbreakers, is just
maybe the most purely American rock band ever. Fuck the Eagles.
And yeah, fuck the Eagles.
And I didn't know, like, I was listening to stuff this week. I didn't know there was a huge, like, Springsteen versus, like, Tom Petty, like, these are the this is Beatles and Stones for people.
It was the South versus the North, is what it was. It was Jersey.
First of all,
if Bruce was the boss, Tom Petty was the owner of the company.
Yeah, but either way, it's just, fuck Bruce Springsteen. I'm sorry, but I don't even consider them to be in remotely the same talent pool, even in any fucking.
He's a showman, but Petty was a musician, man, and songwriter.
Here's one thing I'll say: I've seen The Boss live. Okay, Springsteen's a great musician, and he's a great guitar player. Really fantastic, very underrated guitar player. He rolls his sleeves
very well, by the way. His blue collar sleeve,
and is actually an underrated singer, I think. Petty is an artist. There's no comparison. Petty was the artist. Petty took rock and roll to like
he took blue collar working man rock and roll to a level that Bruce will never do.
He wasn't as pretty to look at, but
no,
goddamn,
but
did he sound better?
He really.
That's a testament.
And for so many, especially like grew up in a trailer park in Gainesville, Florida.
Yeah.
Who never
Williston.
Who never went back to the South. Never went back to the South. Epitomized Southern rock so well.
Except you know what? Though?
Wait a minute.
Except he's not. He transcends Southern rock, and I think it's him getting out of his music. That's the same thing he did. It took the good parts of Southern rock with him, and it left all of that shit, all of that inclination to be a kid rock. He left that in Gainesville, Florida, to fester and rot where it belongs.
No,
Tom Petty, for me, when I only saw him once, and I was I think a freshman in high school, and it was the first concert that I got in a car with my buddies and drove to a different state.
Nice.
We drove to Arlington, I think it was not Arlington, Virginia, but it was where the Nissan Center was.
We don't do that in Florida because that would be a long trip.
Yeah. It was an outside pavilion, and I was a Tom Petty fan. Like, everyone's a Tom Petty fan. Anyone who puts on a classic rock station is a Tom Petty fan. But seeing them live totally changed it for me. It was maybe the best guitar playing I had ever seen ever at that point.
Well, and the Heartbreakers are totally they're a great band.
Oh yeah,
without Tom Petty. But it is also an interesting thing because Nick's a big ELO fan. Like Jeff Lynne wrote half of Tom Petty's biggest hits from the 80s and 90s, which is pretty and crazy to me. They were really great friends. They were in the Traveling Wilburys together, obviously, and Lynne was a huge influence on Petty's music. And vice versa, I think, because they really kind of pushed each other. Anyways,
and I think Petty. What's great about Petty is that did Petty have the prettiest voice? No. Did he have Was he a great guitar player? Not really. Not
he
anything.
He was more of a rhythm player.
Yeah. He there was nothing singular
his lead guitar
about him that was noteworthy, but his music was just fucking good.
He was a great songwriter, and even the ones where he wrote them in very short and like whether they were short periods or protracted time periods of him saying, "Wow, this is took me a long time to write," or "I wrote this on a break," literally. There are songs like "Breakdown" was apparently written in 20 minutes. And I'm just I envy that type of talent. Tom Petty will always be in my heart as one of my favorite artists of all time, just because he was an immensely successful, unique talent. There will never ever be anybody who can emulate what Tom Petty did in his musical career ever. Period. Nobody. Ever. Tom Petty is Tom Petty. And Petty, thankfully, has his place among the rock and roll greats, and hopefully he's having that pie in the sky now. But, I mean, Jesus Christ.
I was never the biggest Tom Petty fan. I had friends who were just, that was it. That was the only CD they would listen to. I wasn't quite like that, but I had these memories, these punctuated memories. I remember the first time I really remember being really sick. I had over 100 fever. I was up all night. My dad stayed up with me and watched MTV, and we watched the Running Down a Dream music video.
One of the greatest fucking music videos.
It's so, and for a
that's another
kid,
thing, and that's another thing.
I remember
like,
feeling better. I felt better after that.
The petty music videos.
That's why I chose to play "Don't Come Around Here No More."
90s.
That video unnerved me in a way that I don't know how to properly do. And it was a perfect marriage of a song that's a little bit outside of his normal kind of sound for anything he did,
and a strong enough artist that he would get celebrities to just show up. Like, I mean, if you look at, obviously, Last Dance with Mary Jane is Kim Basinger, and in the video. But even if you look at Into the Great Wide Open, Johnny Depp is the main character in Into the Great Wide Open. I mean, a star, 1991, the young, Johnny Depp was like, yeah, I'm going to be in a video, a Tom Petty video.
The guy would say no to a Tom Petty video.
Exactly.
I think is more of a.
That's what I'm saying. It's like you have somebody who takes themselves as seriously acting as Johnny Depp is like, yeah, I'm going to be in a fucking Tom Petty video.
Ben, didn't I draw a penis over his signature at that venue in Gainesville?
I fucking
you mentioned a story about this.
I have a tendency to retell stories in a grander, more exaggerated fashion, but I remember that was the night of the Knob Goblin. We created a supervillain that had a penis for a head.
You mentioned this because you were in Gainesville, right?
That was not in Gainesville. It was not in Gainesville. I'm sorry.
You told this story though on the Gadwell Lane podcast.
Yes,
I think.
you did.
Okay.
You did, but it was not in Gainesville.
Because this rings a real clear bell.
No, I'm 100% sure it wasn't Gainesville. It was like Thomasville,
Newberry, Williston.
Well, the fact that Tom Petty played Thomasville says a lot about his rock and roll street cred.
I also loved that there was a definite ownership. When I was at UF, there was an ownership over Petty, and it was really not an ownership. Petty was like, I'll come back here every once in a while, but no, I flew. But yeah, so rest in peace, Tom Petty. And are there any movies that you think have used a Petty song particularly well, or that you can think of off the top of your head?
Or you could talk about The Postman, which Petty is in.
Oh, no, is he really?
You don't remember that?
I have not.
No, Kevin Costner's The Postman, 1997.
Yes, I know. No, first of all, I know the film because it's one of Hoot Gibson's top 3 favorite. The Postman, The Natural, and Braveheart.
For all the shit it gets, it is a bad movie. It's a bad movie, but it's not nearly as bad as people make it out to be. But yet, you get towards the end of the movie, and Kevin Costner comes across this vagrant character. That's funny. Who's running this legion of these people, and he runs into him and he goes, "Did you used to be famous?" And he was like, "Yeah, a long time ago."
Oh, he's playing himself.
He's playing himself, like a post-apocalyptic version of himself.
And then he cracked open a beer?
Yeah, pretty much.
Well done.
Had to work that in there. I was quietly trying to open that to no avail.
Petty actually appeared and was a supporting character in The Postman. In the last act, he has a very important...
The Postman. The Postman.
Spider-Man.
Or Postman.
Spider-Man.
Irving J. Postman, delivering your mail if the weather's okay.
Well,
but I just got new shoes and I don't want to ruin them.
I'm so sad looking over. I'm going through IMDb right now and looking at the shows that Petty had songs on, and they're it's a weird mix of one or two kind of big things, but then a bunch of just weird random shit that doesn't make any sense. But there's no kind of rhyme or reason to his stuff, which is kind of speaks for his songs didn't quite fit.
Well, exactly, but that's one of the reasons why my most memorable Tom Petty performance in the movie is The Postman, where he's actually in the movie.
He was apparently on Australian Idol doing "I Won't Back Down." Couple Sopranos episodes. That makes sense. God forbid they veer away from Bruce in New Jersey, but
luckily Journey took the brunt of Sopranos, and they just faded to black over "Don't Stop Believing." If they did that with "Won't Back Down," that'd be a problem.
So I found an almost segue. It's not so.
Yeah, I'll believe it when I hear it.
It's not. It's actually a real terrible segue, but it's a movie that I feel is an underrated gem of 1997. Not many people have seen it, but it stars Will Friedle from Boy Meets World.
Of course.
And it's called The Trojan War.
Yeah, well, that's good.
And the entire movie is about a guy who's going to get laid by Jennifer Love Hewitt, but he has to get a condom.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the entire movie is a journey to get a condom. And in that movie, they use American Girl by Tom Petty as one of the songs.
Also, Petty banned Michelle Bachmann from using that song during her campaign, which is another
Thank God.
little feather in his cap. In his
I just love Tom
illustrious
Petty.
cap.
I love Tom Petty.
Me too, man. I was gutted. I was on a 8-hour plane ride, and I just saw a news story that he had been rushed to the hospital.
You broke the
and
news to me,
and
Ben.
I landed
Your Facebook post.
Well, I landed to your Facebook post as well, so it was gutting. It sucks.
Well, Ben, so we just know not if Ben rarely posts on Facebook. So if I see that Ben's posting on Facebook, I know something terrible has happened, and I don't really want to look at it anymore.
Well, you have little Benny Wilson as a favorite. You get the notification via text.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I got the like Ben Wilson posted for the first time in a long
let's see
time.
what he
I
has
go,
to say.
oh, I bet Ben's real happy. Oh no.
Sorry, guys.
Well, if I'm going to find out that Tom Petty died, it might as well be from you, buddy.
I
I mean that seriously. I wasn't trying to be funny.
was a big fan, man.
Well, I know that I'll
When Danny
find out.
Elfman goes, I'm going to need each and every
And
one of you to
I-
hold
so-
me.
so
I'm
listen-
not joking.
Guys-
I watched this documentary called Score on the Plane about film composers, and I cried in the middle of two grown men. I'm serious.
No, I believe you.
I started thinking, what's going to happen when Danny goes? I'm going to be a fucking wreck.
But I've been playing Tom Petty on the way to school, for taking the girls to school every day this week. And they don't know Tom Petty, obviously, or whatever. But I've been trying to play fun, happy songs.
They should
or
know
whatever.
from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because he's on that Guitar Gently Weeps solo with Prince.
Yep.
Barely in it.
Barely. No, he's well.
No, he's
the
great.
portion they
Obviously,
show that, but
like,
he sings a lot of that.
No. He's great, and he is taking lead. But Prince just. But people posted that video in remembrance of Tom Petty. I'm like, that's borderline disrespectful. He was great in it, obviously, but Prince
Let people
steals it.
mourn how they want to mourn.
I still feel like
That's true.
We'll get to the topic here in 1 second, but
Nah.
I feel like the best remembered memory of me for Tom Petty is from a video standpoint is the video for "You Don't Know How It Feels." You know what I'm talking about?
How's the
Where
video
it's-
go?
It's one
You
shot.
don't know how it
I know the song, but I don't know how the
feels.
video
You
what the
don't
video
know.
is.
It's a single shot of him playing, looking into the camera on a rotating platform.
Yeah.
And the set is like as soon as the set continues to change behind him, and it's this very it tells very subtly the story of like abuse in his childhood, of his
They hated mess up child.
fucking drunk dad who just beat the shit out of him all the time, and was like but it's telling this story literally of his life in the background, out of focus, on a rotating platform in one shot, where literally the production designer, they were breaking down and building new sets as the camera was rotating a single shot. It was all done in one shot. And it's such a brilliant conceit and concept, and it was so well executed. And there's only one moment where it breaks, where you can tell something is going wrong in the background, and Tom Petty does one of these little odd glances like something's going wrong over there, and then looks back at the camera and gets right back into character. And it's like for some reason that video and the song is great, and Wildflowers is my favorite Tom Petty album. I don't care what anybody says. Wildflowers is a perfect rock and roll album, in my top 5 of all time. Literally.
Of all albums.
Rock and roll albums?
Of all albums ever made. Wildflowers is there. Remember when I did that list? Wildflowers was there.
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
But that video that video I think really kind of encapsulates his spirit. So I'm done with it now.
I remember the list of John Hughes characters you wanted to fuck, but I don't remember that list.
And I remember your list of 75 directors better than Christopher Nolan.
I forgot what.
It's my favorite list of all time.
Number 1, Mick G. Number 2,
By the way, you see that trailer for the new McG movie?
The Babysitter.
No, I have not, actually.
It's a Netflix special.
It looks kind of funny, actually.
Let's all watch it.
Listen, McG produced and directed the first episode of Chuck, and he produced the entire series. And I thought Chuck was a very well put together series. Yeah, you probably shouldn't use that chair for beer stuff, as you can tell.
That's a rotating drum throne, not a beer koozie.
That's okay. No, that's there forever. But we can get you a. Just put it on there for now. It's fine. It's done.
Say, Matt, what's the topic of this podcast?
Well, after I see what Ben did to my chair and I cry. And just get that out of my system.
It's not real leather.
Yeah, so our podcast is not about Tom Petty. It is, however, about one of my favorite genres, which is interesting because Ben made the suggestion for the podcast, but road trip movies. And I'm an unapologetic fan. Any movie will tend to go up in interest level for me if it does a good road trip portion of it. And I think normally we argue about it. I don't really care to argue about it for this podcast. I think it's sort of a waste. Whatever you want to consider to be a road trip movie. It's how long do they have to be in the road? Are there road trip movies that don't take place in a car?
I'll argue.
I had an idea.
Leave the arguing to me, buddy boy.
No arguing. I'm just gonna throw out some movies.
I'm just gonna drink my guava sparkle and enjoy myself.
I'm gonna throw out some movies and see if you think they're road trip movies.
Okay.
Do you have it a yay or a nay, Matt?
Yes.
Immediately.
Yes.
Okay, go.
The Way of the Gun.
Shit.
Wait, that's the one with Ryan Philippe?
I don't even know if that's.
I saw that in college, on VHS at 2 a.m. I barely remember it.
I say it's in the middle.
I say nay. Yeah, I think nay.
Snowpiercer.
Nay.
Yeah, nay. Because
they're moving. They're constantly moving, but it's not about the.
The journey is less
it's
about
stretching.
than the plot happening.
Here's the real
stretching
test. Field of Dreams.
Yeah. Yay. Yay.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure that nobody was going to disagree with me on that one.
I think
Yeah.
it has to do with the change of location has to be important and integral to the plot. It has to be part of the journey and the destination. And Snowpiercer sort of still fits that, but it's
that actually the reason why I thought
it fits it the same way that Alien does.
So here's the only thing I thought about is that
Dude, wait, do you see what I just did?
Yeah,
I brought up Alien as a road trip movie
shit.
before Ben Wilson could.
come on.
Just soak that
I'm sorry,
in.
it's a bunch of space truckers on a road trip to get their cargo home, and they encounter an alien on their way.
Road trip.
So I feel like the road trip, you always end up having all of these idiosyncratic characters all together in one place, trying to get to another place to accomplish a certain goal.
Not like
And meeting new people.
and like constantly having the influx, which is why I was like, that kind of sounds like Snowpiercer to me. Only Snowpiercer is like a high concept sci-fi weird movie. And so I was like, I don't think Snowpiercer is a road trip movie, but it kind of fits all the criteria.
Snowpiercer could take place in a high rise, and it wouldn't change the story for me. Versus Field of Dreams couldn't. They have to. They have to. There's an impetus for them changing location.
So there was not an argument because I actually agreed with you, but for some reason it popped in my head, so I wrote it down.
So those aren't your three selections. You're just running them
No,
by.
I was just running them by. Running those by you guys.
So and it's really tricky because
The real road trip was in your heart all along.
Well, I always get excited
A
when I hear
metaphorical road trip.
when I hear like a pitch for a movie and I'm like, and then I hear that a portion of it takes place on the road, or I find out a portion of it takes place on the road, and I go, well, now I'm interested. Now I find those characters on this journey to be interesting, and there are I'll give you a test as well, or both of you guys, for the same thing.
Okay, then we're at the same time again.
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
No.
The first half, yes, but no.
But it's a large portion of that movie.
It's the first 15
act.
minutes.
It seems like they're there longer.
First act.
Okay. I'm just curious. Y tu mama tambien.
Yes,
Yay.
absolutely.
One
One of the greatest road trip movies of all time.
Also, borderline pornography. If we're making a list for
Dumb and Dumber.
No, it's not.
Yay!
Yes, of course, Dumb and Dumber's a road trip movie.
That's like to the books.
Me,
road
Myself,
trip.
and Irene.
Yay!
Yay as well. All right. And it's
Every
funny,
Farrelly Brothers
every Farrelly
film
Brothers
ever made.
movie ever, for the most part, turns out to be a road trip movie.
Kingpin.
Road trip movie. And what's funny is Kingpin almost skirts it because the finale is so in tune with this event that they're going to and the stuff. But the rest of the movie is all about the journey to get to that spot.
Exactly. Yeah. It doesn't matter about the climax. It matters about getting there.
Yeah, spoken like Ben to his wife.
Speaking of Kingpin, can I get you a beer?
Jesus Christ. Hey, listen though. Seriously though, one of the only thing that I was breaking up in my head about like road trip movies is that I feel like we have to kind of separate comedy road trip or dramedy road trip, whatever.
The comedy road trip starring Tom Green.
Oh, which is on my list. I mean, I fucking love that movie. But no, I feel
Little
like
on the nose, Ben.
there are three different kinds of road trip movies. There's like the straight up comedy, like just straight over the top comedy. There's kind of the dramedy road trip, like think Little Miss Sunshine.
Little Miss Sunshine, yeah.
Oh, and then there is the completely where it's a road trip, sort of sucked into the vacuum of a completely different genre, whether it's sci-fi or whether it's whatever.
Okay.
So they're almost kind of three sort of, because it's hard for me.
A lot of zombie stuff is kind of road trip innate.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Zombieland is. I saw on a bunch of lists.
But that's also a straight up comedy to me. You know, so
Sure.
it's
an action comedy, but it's more comedy than
Well,
that.
I think
action.
road trip lends itself to comedy better than
Well,
drama. There's
so
more
it-
legs usually.
But let's think about the quintessential. Like, first off, so I was gonna say, let's just start with comedy. Like, think about the quintessential comedy road trip
Here we
movies,
go.
which is number one.
May I help you?
Yes.
How may I help you?
You can start by wiping that fucking dumbass smile off your rosy fucking cheeks. Then you can give me a fucking automobile. A fucking Datsun, a fucking Toyota, a fucking Mustang, a fucking Buick. 4 fucking wheels and a seat.
I really don't care for the way you're speaking to me.
And I really don't care for the way your company left me in the middle of fucking nowhere with fucking keys to a fucking car that isn't fucking there. And I really didn't care to fucking walk down a fucking highway and across a fucking runway to get back here to have you smile in my fucking face. I want a fucking car. Right fucking now.
So, to me,
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Not a road trip movie.
to me, that's the penultimate, next to Vacation, which is the ultimate.
See, and you know what? And Vacation was my
Home Alone kind of has a road trip element
Well,
to it.
it with
does.
John Candy, they just trot him back out to do Del Close.
Exactly.
No, it's what's fast. So Vacation was my introduction to road trip movies, but Planes, Trains, and Automobiles was where my passion about them just exploded. And I think the difference is that, like, so I think we've talked about it in the podcast before. I know we've talked about it in real life. Is that the first Vacation movie might as well be a documentary for my family in the 80s. It was every bad fucking trip we took as a family. There were things that happened in that movie that happened in our lives that I couldn't understand as a child, that the things on screen were just like, I was like, were we like the basis of this movie is a documentary? Yeah, like, I didn't understand it. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles spun it in a couple of different ways, and one of the great ways it did was with the drama that comes out of the last act of that movie that's peppered throughout the movie. And it was funny, I was doing research for this, and I found Siskel and Ebert doing their review of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and both of them were like, finally John Candy did a movie we can support. 'Cause there was, and I've forgotten how hoity-toity they were about comedies.
Dude, those guys were so fucking ridiculous. Douchebag.
But even both of them were like, "Fuck!" Finally, like Candy did something that they were like, "This is a masterpiece." Like this is, and especially Siskel, who hated like swearing and shit like that in movies. Swearing and sex were like the two things. Fucking loves the scene with him at the car rental where he drops F-bombs weren't dropped casually in a comedy like that, in that succession at that time. It was a jarring moment, but it's delivered so perfectly that I still think that's probably the pinnacle for me. I think it goes above a Vacation for me.
I'm not saying it's not a better movie than Vacation, because I actually like it better than Vacation. I was just saying, from when you come to the road trip movie pinnacle on like the comedy side, for me, the top of that mountain is Vacation, just because it set the trend. It set that kind of standard for the road trip
Well, I think
comedy
there's
movie.
and there's also like what happened. What movies do these movies beget, right? Or like what do they influence? Like for Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, there's one movie that I feel was kind of in that mix that not a lot of people are. It's not like a hugely well remembered movie necessarily, other than a small crew, which is Dutch. Which I don't know if you're familiar with Dutch with Ed O'Neill and
Dutch.
Ethan Embry. Dutch is essentially all of the DNA from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles done in just a slightly different, pardon the pun, vehicle, but it does it really fucking well. And it's not easy to do those really fucking well.
Yeah, I
But
agree.
it does seem like more of them hit than miss because everyone has been on a trip and everyone has had to deal with the bullshit of a trip. And there's a mine of things that even still to this day haven't been addressed to the point where they've been beaten like a dead horse. There's still road trip things that are funny that can happen.
One of the very first movies I remember watching was a road trip movie. It made my list. Do you guys remember the first ever Sesame Street movie, Follow That Bird?
Oh yes, absolutely.
No.
Dude, I owned that movie.
Really, I would watch it again. I don't know if it holds up.
I don't know
I
this.
still remember like Big Bird, like he was hitchhiking at one
Yes.
point. He was walking down.
Okay, so let me
Big
tell you
Bird
this a little bit of
hitchhiking.
synopsis time. Little synopsis time. Ready? So, Big Bird lives on Sesame Street with Snuffleupagus and Oscar the Grouch and
I'm familiar.
humans and different animals. And there is this what they call this bird. It's called the Feathered Friends Board of Birds, and they're all different birds. And they go, well, there's a bird living on Sesame Street with other species. Like, we got to send our social worker bird,
Dude, you never
out to
realize
Sesame
how-
Street.
The fuck is this?
And find him a
Dude,
home.
Sesame Street's always been really subversive.
Yeah.
People don't realize
So
this.
we need to find Big Bird a home where he could live with other birds the way God intended. But here's the best
Sesame
part.
Street was making fun of Donald Trump in the 80s.
Yeah, I remember.
Madam Chairbird was the head of the council,
Yeah, I
and
remember this.
the social group's worker was the villain of the movie. And I remember being really scared by her. Her name was Miss Finch, and she was a Finch, and it was voiced by
That's where your fear and hatred
voiced
of
by
Finches
Sally
began.
Kellerman, and you might remember her as Hot Lips Who I Am.
Yeah, I met her.
You did.
One of the few celebrities I've met in Jupiter Farms at a taping of Win, Lose, or Draw.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Win, lose, or draw?
I
Because
used to
she
love
was
that
there
show.
with Burt Reynolds.
You were showing your age, brother.
Burt Convy and Burt Reynolds. Oh, and you know who else I met that day? A young
Abraham Lincoln.
Fuck you. A young Jason Bateman who was deep into drugs and not doing a lot of work.
Well, so
Yeah, you
Matt,
madam.
we really should watch Follow That Bird. We should get tanked one night and watch this because he moves from city to city to city, and the best part is while Big Bird's on the road, he escapes his family of dodo birds that he's placed with. He doesn't like them very much. They don't like that he's friends with Snuffleupagus. He should be friends with other birds, right, Matt?
Okay.
So he escapes, makes the news. And then everyone from Sesame Street realizes we got to find him before the social worker does. So they all split up. So Gordon, Olivia, Linda, and Cookie Monster take one car.
Gordon's in this?
Oh yeah, the Count leaves in his Countmobile. Ernie and Bert go out to search in an airplane. Grover flies as Super Grover.
Super Grover, yeah.
Everyone has their own storyline.
So he's technically not a bird,
And so-
even though he flies.
But the best part
What
about that
is
movie.
Grover? What people does he hang out with?
Grover's a monster. He's by himself. He ends up crashing into the car at some point, and,
Of course,
and
because
rejoining the group.
that is his
but
want.
The one thing that like sticks with me as a kid, and this scene is like so crazy. Was it John Flaherty, the father from
Joe
Freaks and
Flaherty.
Geeks? Joe Flaherty, and this other guy
From SCTV.
Yes, exactly. Who's wearing an Orioles hat the entire
Oh,
length
boy.
of the movie, FYI. But they.
And now we know why Nick was obsessed with this movie.
So I didn't know that until I just looked it up.
wait. So he's wearing a bird hat
Yeah.
in this movie about the highly politicized birds?
Yeah. Well, so is Huey
There's some
Lewis in
levels.
Sphere, but I don't need to get into that. The history of Orioles hats in film. That's a whole other podcast. So they capture him. Joe Flaherty captures
Next
him.
week, everyone.
Next
The
week.
history of Baltimore hats in cinema.
Edward Norton had one in the score also. But I seriously could go on. But anyway, they capture Big Bird as he's hitchhiking, right? And they want to start a sideshow. Who's seen a bird this big before? I guess that's a big bird. So
yeah, what kind of bird is he?
But here's what they do. No one knows. But what they do is they literally put him in a cage. They force him to play nightclubs because they hear him singing. They know he can sing because it's a musical. It's a musical. They paint him blue.
Yeah.
Oh.
And this is the ironic part. They named the show The Blue Bird of Happiness. But he's not happy, Matt. He's actually quite sad, or in this case, literally blue. So basically, the whole gang meets up and they bring him back to Sesame Street, and it ends knowing that like it's good to have a diverse group of friends, and you don't have to be with people who are like you. And
but Snuffleupagus isn't real. That's my problem with all of this plot so far.
What are you talking about? None
He's
of them are real. They're Muppets.
No.
For
I mean, no. Snuffleupagus is an imaginary character
They're not
in Big
Muppets.
Bird's
They're
head.
on Sesame Street.
Yeah. Fuck you, Muppet. You're a Muppet. Anyway.
Well, Kermit is in this, so there are Muppets.
Okay.
Anyways, well, so we so we like
Come on, that was a good one.
all of those comedy. I mean, like, were there any other comedy road trip movies? I mean, because
there's
obviously-
1,000
Blues
of
Brothers,
them.
but of
but-
course, Blues Brothers didn't make my final list, but that's, I think, absolutely a road trip
absolutely.
movie.
No, it's
106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
I have a feeling
on a
our
mission from
listeners
God.
will have heard earlier in this podcast for the intro the part where there's like got a cop motor, cop wheels, cop tires. My brother was quoting on the way up to Horror
I
Nights.
fucking love that movie.
it's so great.
Didn't make my list, though.
But even like the later road trip movies that
Well, I mean, your favorite.
Where did he go?
Austin, Massachusetts.
You mean Boston, Massachusetts?
Yeah, that's what I said. Boston. The University of Boston in Massachusetts.
That doesn't sound like Alien.
So after we talk to the cops, we're still going to White Castle, right?
Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle is maybe the most pure of road trips that exist. The entirety of that movie is a road trip. I mean, there's nothing else to that other than road trip on there. And
I have a very pure road trip.
well, I mean, there's
Ooh, I want to suck those guys' dicks off.
Oh, yeah.
shit.
Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
I had not even thought of that. That is a pure road trip.
But one
Yeah,
that
I
should be
didn't think of that
important to
either.
Ben because it will come up, we don't know when, but sometime in the next several months.
My shoulder doesn't hurt very much, but my face does. Right here. Not here or here so much, but right here.
Nope. Ship shape.
That's Chris Farley talking to David Spade and Tommy Boy,
Tommy.
which is a
yeah.
fantastic road picture. Which, and actually, I will indulge me for one more clip because I think
Why were you saying that? I would know that.
Oh, because that's what I'm going to say to you after I kick you in the balls as retribution for when you hit me in the face, and I did that same
that's
thing.
right.
And said,
Okay.
it doesn't hurt here or here so much, but that portion where you cold
I
cocked
understand
me
now.
At,
I understand the context.
at the Blue Anchor, and so Ben's getting a ball kick coming up. We'll just wait, just find out.
I'm not
Listeners will
planning
know.
on having kids anymore, so it's a good thing.
But
I know what day's planning it, too.
what I
in my calendar.
This is true.
Shit.
He does know. Actually, and so is John Reinsvold. We're sort of making a party out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I won't say it's a Halloween party, but I mean, whatever. I've said too
Reception
much.
immediately to follow.
So, Tommy Boy has, I think, one of the truest road trip movies in it, road trip moments in it. And it's a moment that doesn't exist anymore because we have phones and iPods and things. But there was a time when you took a road trip where you were a slave to the radio.
Exactly.
And the fight over the radio was constant, but it always happened exactly like this.
Hey, good tune, man. I don't think so. Yeah, here we go. This song sucks. Talk about lame. Totally.
Yeah.
You can change it if you want.
I don't care. It's up to you.
I can live with it if you can.
Suit yourself.
Wait.
Yeah, it's great.
I can live with it if you can.
I can live with it. You can. Yeah. That was probably every road trip up to like 97. Yeah, this song sucks. I can live with it if you can. Whatever. I'm not going to touch the radio and deal with it. So, anyway, Tommy Boy, I think is Tommy Boy is one of those movies that's completely elevated because it was a road trip movie. I think without the road trip elements, that movie is not it doesn't work nearly as well.
Well, it's the only way that those two are going to bond.
Right, exactly.
It's the only way. They're forced. They're forced in close quarters
Which I think is
to
part,
get along.
Yeah, it's part of the
paradigm.
Trope.
Yeah,
it's the trope.
Which
It's
is
like
sort of what you
have to-
suggested, right? Is that so?
Well, we'll get to,
like
that
get
in
to the
just a
serious
second.
ones.
But first off, I would like to go to the dramedy side just for a minute and,
Okay.
and talk about the films that are actually a little bit more serious, maybe not so serious, but I feel like because comedy is. We talked about all the comedy films, but I think there were some really great, like, not like super serious.
I mean, Little Miss Sunshine is a great example. That's why I had the Paul
That's a
Dano
comedy,
fuck
though.
on there.
I have the ultimate.
To save Private Ryan, they had to go a long way.
No. I mean,
Wait, just shut you down on that one.
if you want to talk
Oh,
about,
I'm sorry. It can't be a road trip because it's in France. Is that your problem with it? You don't like foreign films, Ben?
You
An asshole.
son of a bitch.
ask me what
Such
the
a
best
Philistine.
road trip movie of all time is.
Oh, it's. I know you mentioned it before because it's from before, long ago.
What?
Isn't it an old movie?
No,
Oh,
it's not an old movie.
Isn't it an obscure movie that no one's
It's
ever
not
heard
an
of?
obscure.
it's not an Squire movie.
Squire movie. Mark Masquire movie. No.
Is it a? I don't. Just say
Come
it.
on, man. Almost Famous is my favorite road trip movie of all time.
Almost a road trip movie too. Look at his eyes. He's got his pupils are red. So help me God.
What's
they're
funny
red.
is I was actually thinking of Almost Famous characters to be in my road trip movie, but I was not considering it a road trip movie.
No. That's a good. No, I mean that's
It's a road trip movie.
absolutely.
I was about to say it. If you were going to argue,
I'm
that's-
not arguing. I'm
Yeah,
just
I was about to say,
We're not
it's
going to
fine.
argue.
There's
that.
no argument that's a road trip movie.
I mean, I don't know what you're talking about. I've only seen Untitled, the actual director's cut, but I assume it's the same thing that you're talking about.
You're a golden god, Ben Wilson. What more can I
Fuck's
say?
sake, man. No, but so like Little Miss Sunshine, Almost Famous, like these movies kind of fit into this genre where it's. I feel like that there's a. And Y Tu Mama Tambien.
Well, yeah, I mean, and Almost
fantastic-
Famous, and it's funny. It's in. This is sort of amazing, actually. Maybe you have better examples I'm not thinking of, but
Like Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
but well, no, I'm talking about but for
Ben likes that
for
one.
going serious with a movie, right? So Almost Famous is getting closer, but Almost Famous is also filled with a shit ton of comedy. I mean,
exactly. Well, so is Y Tu Mama Tambien.
It has arguably our greatest comedic actor of ours or any generation, Jimmy Fallon, in it.
I was about to say Jimmy Fallon.
Damn it.
That was for Nick.
Fuck
Do you know he's actually wearing an Orioles hat in the playing scene? It's the deleted
Jimmy
scene.
Fallon.
He's not. Otherwise, I would know about it.
Jimmy Fallon's actually pretty good in that movie.
He's pretty funny in it, actually. It's bearded Jimmy Fallon, so he's funny. That's how you know he's serious. But
Because if you think Mick Jagger's gonna be up there doing that when he's 50, then you are sadly mistaken.
no,
Jimmy Fallon's great in movies because the first 20 takes he laughs during his line. And he'll get it right in the 21st. He
this
just
is
edit it
not
in.
the anti-Jimmy Fallon podcast. Not this week.
He also tussled Trump's hair.
Okay, there
Fuck
we go.
you, Jimmy
Okay.
Fallon.
Well, Jim. Well, we just lost another listener. Damn it! I'm sorry, Jimmy. I tried.
God damn it, Jimmy.
Jimmy. I
And
just,
all the roots no longer listening.
Jimmy, I'm gonna come back. We'll come back to you.
Jimmy,
later.
I just want to say on behalf of all of us here at the New Way.
Mi scusi.
Miss Scusi, I'm so
Which
sorry.
is another
Jimmy.
one, Euro trip.
Another Euro
By the way.
trip. But so
Let's excuse me. Not
why
sorry.
are so maybe you know some because I Almost Famous is still way more on the comedy side than it is in drama. Why are we not getting more dramas from the road trip?
You don't think that's a. Oh, okay. So Road to Perdition.
Y Tu Mama's a real good one.
There you go.
Road to Perdition's a great.
There you go.
But that also has comedy. It's played very subtly.
The road trip portions of it have comedy,
Exactly.
and the rest of the movie, which is also another one of those. It's arguable that it's really just a middle act of sort of going from one place to another.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's done in montage, and it seems like it's a a genre that is ripe to do a really good character piece. So think about if you were doing Planes, Trains, and Automobiles without the comedy.
We have a friend who has done a dramedy. Tim Driscoll directed The Lynx. I don't know if you've seen it. Actually, really, really fun dramedy, kind of like dramatic, kind of fun movie. But it's, I don't think there are that many very super serious.
But I mean, think about something like The Bucket List, but done serious, like something that's done more inspirational or whatever. That's not played as goofy. What is it about the genre that people are afraid to get really dig in with it?
Would you say what about like Sideways or Descendants? That's not quite.
Sideways is
Sideways is more.
But all of those are they're all. I mean, Nebraska's the closest you get to it.
Right. But he's in Nebraska for more of the movie than
you're 100% correct on that. But Nebraska's closer at least to the tone that I'm thinking of there. That it's.
But that's not a laugh out loud.
It's not at all. That's what I'm saying. It's closer to what I'm looking for.
His movies are funny. You'll laugh, but you don't come away from it.
But Nebraska is definitely the most. I think the most somber of Payne's movies by a long shot. In fact, I did actually put...
Hell, I drove up from Dallas one time. That's 850 miles. I'd done that in 8 hours.
that was
the
great.
One bit of comedy
that
in
was
it
so uncomfortable.
With Buzz from Home Alone.
Woof.
A woof on there. But yeah, it's really... It was something I kept looking at when I was going over these lists, was kind of like... It seems like such an easy way to do a character drama, like a pretty Dinner with Andre, but done in a car, like with different locales and going to different diners and all of these things on there. Which actually, Hell or High Water, kind of has a road thing
but also
on there.
Hell or High Water, I would put in that middle because it is kind of a comedy.
Stylized, yeah. And they always lean a little bit, and maybe there's no way to make a road trip movie without being pretty funny. Well,
I always wanted to make a movie that was a mashup of My Dinner with Andre and Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, and everyone's expecting Andre, and then Sidney Poitier just shows up. No?
I know that Nick and I discussed this earlier. So one of the things when we were discussing like road trip movies and the ones that... Sorry.
He's going to just roll
Hey, by the way, I meant to ask this. An American Tail road trip movie.
I mean,
it's like a road trip movie, like Titanic's a road trip movie.
No, I mean, like, does it have all of the tropes of a road trip, of a dramatic road trip movie?
American Tail is very much but it's like saying that like the last half of Fiddler on the Roof makes it
is Amistad a road trip movie? that's the same logic.
The entire last hour and a half of Amistad takes place in a courtroom.
There are no cuts in America.
Oh my god!
I got you. I got you, you motherfucker. I finally got you.
I thought that was...
You didn't like my Dinner with Andre joke, but you'll like that, you son of a bitch.
And my number one road trip movie, Amistad, featuring a side-splitting performance by Anthony Hopkins.
Anyways, but one of the things I thought about, and Nick and I were on the same wavelength when we were talking about podcast topics, is when I was thinking about the road trip thing was what... Like, who, if you had your own movie, or if you were going on your own road trip, what popular characters in television or series or in film would you want to go on a road trip with? Or who would it make the most interesting road trip movie? I mean, I don't know which way you guys took that.
I mean, a character played by Alexander Daddario, a character played by Scarlett Johansson, and a character played by...
I got very close to doing something along those lines. I was just like, yes,
Kat Dennings and Thor, whoever her character was.
Oh, yeah.
There you
That's
go.
actually not a bad...
Kat Dennings and...
But I had one more thing I wanted to play you guys.
Oh, yeah? Oh yes, I'm sorry.
Before we get there, this movie I actually really, really love. And I think that it was in 1998. So did that predate a lot of the road trip movies? Maybe not.
No.
But it might be the birth of the manic pixie dream girl. Maybe the first appearance.
With an uncredited rewrite by
who?
Really? Didn't we talk about this on the Really Bad podcast?
The movie is Overnight Delivery, starring Reese Witherspoon.
With a semi-credited rewrite by Kevin Smith.
Oh, that's right.
Where his hatred of Reese Witherspoon began because she, in the middle of shooting one day, she just stopped and she goes, "Who wrote this fucking shit?" And someone said Kevin Smith, and she's like, "Well, he fucking sucks."
Wow.
And he was like, "Well, now I hate Reese Witherspoon," and made a.
I'm gonna make Cop Out and prove her wrong. But also Paul Rudd, of course. But the one thing I wanted to play is the trailer. Also, when I was doing research for this podcast, is there's two classic trailer tropes. In a world, that guy. But then there's the other trailer guy that doesn't get the headlines. And this is about as 90s as a trailer can possibly
Let's
get.
hope this plays without visuals.
Meet Wyatt Trips. He was sure he'd found the right woman.
And when we do finally have sex, it's not going to be in a Volvo.
But a little misunderstanding.
My girlfriend's cheating on me with a guy called the Ricker.
And some help from a friend.
She broke my heart.
So break her ego.
Have created a big problem.
An overnight delivery service, delivery by 10 a.m. the next day? Is this a great country or what?
Not anymore.
He's just sent his girlfriend the wrong package.
Stop! Wait!
I bear some degree of responsibility here.
Some degree.
And he's got
Nice
24
scarf.
hours to get it back.
I'll give you $200 if you
In a
drive me
Volkswagen
St.
Thing, Ben.
$400 for mental anguish, and maybe I'll do it.
They're really trying to cover up her forehead.
Which predated Road Trip, which predated Sex Tape.
Yep.
That takes them too
No,
far.
this is sex tape, literally.
Yeah, I know.
God is my witness, you will not!
Road Trip is its own thing, fortunately.
Too fast.
Please God, I swear I'll never send anything overnight delivery again.
That's the moral of the story.
Oh no.
And leaves them in the one place they never expected to be.
In love.
Look at me, I'm dressed like a girl.
Oh.
Overnight delivery.
I highly recommend Overnight Delivery to any of our
I
listeners.
mean, good record scratch in there. One way or another,
of course.
great
come on.
music.
But it is sex tape. He thinks Christine Taylor is cheating on him, and she's in school in Texas, and he gets
Austin.
drunk and
Austin, Massachusetts.
Austin, you think, yeah.
That's Road Trip, not Sex Tape.
I'm joking.
Well, same difference. So he sends her.
It's the same premise, by the way,
he
between
gets-
Sex Tape and Road Trip.
That's what I'm.
No, it's not.
what I'm saying.
In Sex Tape, it's a couple that actually makes it together, and they're trying
Amy
to keep
Smart
it for
and-
themselves. No,
Road Trip is
and-
them. They make a video together by accident that gets slipped to his girlfriend.
And in Overnight Delivery, they make
Right.
sex
They're real
pictures.
similar.
You said that Sex Tape was the same, and Sex Tape is the one where they're actually
were all the
trying
same.
to make a sex video for
Okay, well,
themselves.
They're
At
all
some
the
point,
same.
someone was videoed having sex. She knows they're doing it in Road Trip. She sets
They're
the camera
all the
up.
same. They're all the
He
same.
goes, "What am I looking for in a girl? Topless is nice." That's my Breckenmeyer, by the way. I could have been much meaner with that.
Oh, another Breckenmeyer Road Trip. It's a Mad World remake.
Oh wow,
Rat Race.
Rat Race. That fucking sucks.
Just-
I think Rat Race is kind of funny.
No man,
No, that
No.
was you've just lost.
you've lost.
Oh, I just lost you. I penciled that in as a win.
Nick, I'm sorry, you've lost the podcast this week. You need to step outside for the right matter.
Wait till you get my trio of
can
road
we-
trip
so
characters.
Can we please get back to the whole thing about like who would you like to go on a road trip with? And like I said, I don't know if it's in a movie. Like if you classified that as like in a movie, if you were in a movie.
No, I'm
these
not
are-
casting a movie. I'm talking
or
about I'm going
who
on
you
a
actually
road
wanna go
trip.
with.
Who
With the
am I
character.
road tripping with?
Yes.
Who do I want to road trip with?
Yeah, it's characters.
What is going to make the maximum fun and
Yes.
memories and goodness?
All right.
man.
Well, Ben, you want to kick it off?
Sure.
Or Nick, you want to kick it off?
Let's
Who?
let Ben take this.
All right.
He's feeling it. I can see it.
Well, I mean, I was the one who.
Sydney
came up with the idea, it's
Poitier
fine.
from Guess Who's Coming to Dinner.
With Andre.
Okay, well, so my first.
Guess who's coming to dinner with Andre?
My first is my old guy, because you have to have the old
George
guy.
Papard?
No,
Walter
the
Matthau.
character is. Come on, the character is Henry Gondorf. You know? No,
Is that the guy who said, and
No.
mine
Oh,
axe?
you mean Andre Gondorf?
no. Henry Gondorf is Paul Newman in The Sting.
Okay. All right.
I mean, talk
Sly
about the
Shuckster.
slick. Like, talk about Robert Downey Jr. before. Like the slickest, like the guy who always has an answer for everything, always knows.
Slick old man.
Well, wouldn't you rather
hard
have
living, like the. I mean, he's got a fucking story. Everybody.
What about Cool Hand Luke? I'd rather have Cool Hand Luke.
This isn't your road trip.
Oh, sorry.
No,
I'm gonna go Newman.
I actually like. Actually, like
Sometimes nothing is a pretty cool
My
hand.
second is Irwin Fletcher from Fletch.
Nice.
I like that. It's a good one.
Because he is another sarcastic ass who can and especially between him and the old guy, then you kind of almost have the Sting thing going on with like, the young guy and the old guy. Only Chevy Chase is a lot more sarcastic,
and Chase has a thing that I was integral for one of mine but we'll.
You better hope you get along with him better than Dan Harmon did.
And my last is Penny Lane.
Okay,
Almost Famous.
There you go.
So
Played
you want
by
to be
Kate
dealing
Hudson.
with someone that is going to potentially overdose with you on this road trip.
Oh God, didn't think of that.
I'm actually I didn't think about that. that did not play into the.
You're going to be a drug mule on this
and by the way,
road trip.
I purposely chose certain characters because I knew they were wild cards and I wanted that element at times. But Penny Lane is a little. I don't know that I want to get on that.
You
trip
also
with her.
never know if Henry is ever going to get up at all.
No, yeah.
So,
so you got an old guy that might die, and you got Penny Lane who might die from a drug. You're just gonna be hanging out with Fletch.
No.
And the guy who's
it's not just Fletch. It's a whole cast of crazy characters.
But just imagine, but listen, just imagine that road trip movie of all of the four of us going somewhere. Like, how far would we make it?
Erwin, you're really starting to get on my nerves. Can you come up with another character?
Fletch and Ben Wilson go to Austin, Texas to prevent the sex tape from getting to his fiance.
It's just gonna
We
be
would make it from
Fletch,
here at Jacksonville if we
It's
wanted.
just gonna be Fletch doing like bad Paul Newman and bad like Kate Hudson impersonations on the trip.
Big furry coat.
Wow. Yeah,
Anyways.
I like that. That's good.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But that's the reason why I like it, because it's fucking insane.
In true road
like
trip
that.
movie style, though.
Yeah, no,
Exactly.
it's good, and so Fletch would be the only one of yours that. So I had a very specific requirement of mine, which is if I'm going to be fucking stuck on a road trip,
There better be titties.
Well, no. I need somebody with. Well, there are titties, but
okay,
but not like not Matt titties, just
Okay.
regular average titties.
Okay, fair enough.
So I needed pop culture. I need someone that can sit and talk pop culture with me. So I could choose any character in any Kevin Smith movie if I want to at that point. But
You
I
can't pick
specifically
Silent Bob. We won't talk to you about it.
Joey Lauren Adams?
I know. I specifically chose Brody Bruce from Mallrats because I thought Brody likes to mix it up, so I know he's going to do some interesting things. He's got great one-liners, and he'll sit and talk minutia
Brody's
with
good.
me about stuff on there.
Maybe he'll make you like comic books.
Brody is kind of like my Marshall Erickson, who was my like last
Yes.
man out.
Yeah.
I was just like, he's just.
I thought about Marshall.
He's too normal.
I tried to keep it. Well, you said
You can't do
film, so I
TV.
tried to keep it film characters.
can't do TV.
Otherwise, I was going to have Liz Lemon was going to be on mine, 100%. But
I was
so
going to be
then-
road tripping with Steve Urkel.
So I knew I wanted to have a female on the road trip as well. So I chose
Only one?
I chose this. Did anyone know the character Janice Ian? Anyone?
Is that Chandler's
No.
girlfriend?
No,
That's TV.
It's Lizzie Kaplan from Mean Girls.
Ah.
That plays kind of the gothy, but
yeah.
she's got a little bit of snarky.
She can
And
hang.
I go, she and Brody could be kind of fun as a dynamic
She's
in that
friends with the
car.
gay guy.
She's friends with the gay guy. She's open. She's interesting. I felt that because like I was looking at the Aubrey Plaza model, but I'm like,
I do love Lizzie Kaplan.
and Lizzie Kaplan is, I mean, she's great just in general. So I picked her. Now my third one is my wild card 100%. And it's Randall McMurphy from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Oh shit!
Because
you're going down the.
how do I not have a road trip without fucking Jack Nicholson? Just Jack Nicholson the fuck out of everything.
By the way, another dramedy as good as it gets.
Yes. But it's a road trip scene. The rest, I don't think that movie.
No, the entire last hour and 10 minutes of that movie is a road trip.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because they're at the place. Yeah. But yeah, Randall McMurphy was a character I loved on the page. Do you want to keep
No, I
on?
was just gonna say, you make me want to be a better man.
I think of a man and I take away reason and accountability. That's still the best line in that movie and meanest. But yeah, Randall McMurphy was a character that stood up to kind of the establishment. He's a fighter, by the way, because I know we're going to get into some shit. I got Lizzie Kaplan and Brody Bruce. They're going to rub some people the wrong way. I need some muscle on there. And oddly enough, Jack Nicholson's my muscle. He's in the Cuckoo's Nest because of fighting.
And just think, you could have a cameo by Scatman Jones.
We brought it back.
Well done. I wish I had it prepared. Well, and by the way, I almost was gonna. I was gonna put that on because, well, we'll do it as an aside for our Halloween episode. But
Halloween episode.
Yeah, but which, by the way, now you guys have been put on notice. We are going to do a Halloween episode. So
love it.
Fuck, we should just record in the middle of the party.
Ladies and gentlemen, listeners of the New Way podcast, we were going to be doing a Halloween episode. So
Darkest ghouls and haunted night. All right, Nicholas.
All right, fuckers.
Who are you traveling with?
Those were some really great answers.
The Wilburys.
Oh. I would travel with the Wilburys.
I would too. The two remaining ones. But here's my ultimate crew.
Oh.
Oh, shit.
All right.
Does it have the Ultimate Fighter in it?
Nope.
Okay.
Number 1. Lisa from Weird Science. Kelly LeBrock Lisa, not the Lisa from Kingpin in the USA.
So a robot woman invented by two.
You get to drive her cool pink convertible. She
Okay.
can come up with anything along the way.
So you get all the accoutrement along
Yeah, she's
with
a
her?
genie. Yeah, I think so.
fine.
Yeah.
Well, then that makes sense.
I was going to choose Sully from Monsters Inc. for one of my characters as well, and I was going to get to travel.
She's a genie. What do you little maniacs want to do next? Think of what trouble you could get into
breaking the rules
with Lisa
and just breaking the mold.
And it's Kelly LeBrock in her prime layup, okay? And you're just jealous because you didn't think of Lisa from Weird Science.
Sure.
Number 2.
I like a woman with free will, but anyway, continue.
All right, number 2. Do you?
No, okay, no. But seriously.
Lisa from Weird Science. She's benevolent. She loves to have fun. She can create anything with the snap of her finger. It's a layup.
And Lisa from Saved by the Bell.
It might Lisa Turtle. I thought about that, but Lark Voorhees.
And then Lisa from Lisa.
All right.
And
so
then-
number 2. Number 2. Now, in a typical, she's sort of the wild card. Can do anything. What?
You're going with another female?
No,
okay.
I'm going now. The next role is now. Listen, the one role you guys overlooked was the moral compass. The one who's along.
That's me.
Along. That's true. Along for the ride, not necessarily into everything that's happening.
That's me.
All right. We're not counting you because you're not a fictional character in a film.
No, I'm in my road trip.
But I get it. But. That's not me, so I had to cast one, and it's Cameron.
Bullshit, it's
from
not
Ferris
you.
Bueller's
You're
Day
the
Off.
most moral.
I actually thought about Cameron.
Because he's cool. You got to break down a couple walls, and it's
Cameron go.
I'll go. You need someone
Rooney,
who's kind of pardon my French,
but you're an asshole.
Give me the keys. He would be along for the ride, but he would kind of keep us in check, you know. But in the end, ultimately, we win it over. Lisa from Weird Science would create
I agree.
a bunch of Gordie Howe jerseys that he could have on standby, or she could come up with a new Lamborghini for his father. She could fix anything at the end.
So now I'm interested in your third character, not from 1984 to 1987.
That's not going to happen. Now we need someone cool. I thought about doing Van Wilder, but we recently talked about Van Wilder, and I'm afraid that maybe he would get in with Lisa, and that wouldn't work.
Yeah, of course.
I don't want to let someone compete. So I went with someone who was cool, someone who can hang. Like you said, Matt, earlier, he's going to be good in a tough situation. When shit goes down, he'll handle it. He's a good guy to have on hand.
Richard
But-
Simmons.
Nope. Well, oh shit.
He would have kept everyone
He
in
wasn't
shape.
in a movie. He wasn't in a movie. If he was.
He was in one of the Naked Guns, I think.
As himself. That's a cheat.
Yeah.
Anyway. Also, wouldn't complain with all the Huey Lewis that I'd be playing in the car.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Martin McFly is my third choice.
Marty McFly's he's little.
He's so...
He ain't gonna protect nobody.
Well, exactly. He's as tall as I am, so he's not taller than me. I'm still the
Who's
alpha.
your muscle?
You've just created the
Who's your muscle?
You've created the whiniest
Yeah,
car
I gotta
of
say.
all
What
fucking
are you
time.
talking about?
I don't know. I don't know if we should be going on this. I'll go.
I'll go. Oh, great Scott!
Oh, I'm sorry. That was Christopher Lloyd. And you know what? Marty McFly...
No, it's not. In the third
more
movie,
than,
he says great
more
Scott.
than held his own. More than held his own.
Such a dick, Ben.
Well, hey, Ben, what would you do if you had to go back to 1955 with no plutonium to power your DeLorean? You'd be fucked.
Nick, if
He made it
your
happen.
road trip is taking place in 1985, and even then, I never bought Marty as like a. He gets bullied by the bully. Like he can't even. He barely can.
Marty, if you don't think Marty McFly is
grows
cool,
up over the course of 3 movies. He's kind
Marty
of
McFly is cool.
He's kind of a dick.
We probably listen to the same music.
No, so those are good. Your reason, so I don't object to Marty. I object for your reason for it. You want to listen to the same music and you want to have fun with the Huey Lewis stuff and you want to kind of have a smart ass.
The Deus Ex Machina here is Lisa. Nothing too terrible is ever going to happen because she can reverse it at the snap of her
So
finger.
basically, by magic, you have the perfect.
Once
me with science.
Once again, you're just jealous that I thought of Kelly LeBrock with magical powers and you didn't, because that's the only person you need in a road trip.
I'd rather go on my road trip. Now, what's funny is none of us picked, because I was really close with my Randall McMurphy. Is that I originally that role on my road trip was going to be a leader, and I wanted a captain.
Wait. So no one pushes back on Randall McMurphy, but you're gonna push back on Marty McFly? Really?
Have you watched One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
Yes,
he
Matt, I've
turns
seen the
around an
film.
entire fucking mental institution.
He basically is the ringleader of.
He's what Marty McFly will maybe grow into.
I want someone to tell me what to do.
I know.
Or you Morty wanting a Rick Sanchez?
He ain't gonna tell me what to do. He's gonna be fun.
No, he's not gonna be fun.
Lisa's telling you what to do. Lisa tells those kids everything to do.
No, she doesn't.
Yes, she does.
We just like making fun of Nick.
You listen.
Well, no. So I assume. So I was waiting for one of us to pick a captain. So I had thought about Star-Lord, but I was really going to go with Mal from Firefly. Was going to be my main one.
Look at me. I'm the captain now.
That guy would be great on a road trip.
No, he wouldn't.
Honestly,
no, he wouldn't, Matt.
We would have no problems picking up new cars.
If you got cold, you could borrow Marty's vest. He has a DeLorean.
If I was on a road trip and my bodily harm wasn't in jeopardy, Jane would be more fun from Cinderella and Firefly.
I can't separate Jane from the actor anymore.
Yeah, it's hard.
What about
character?
And I almost picked Wash, but I go, I'm Wash.
Yeah,
that was my problem.
Wash.
I couldn't pick Wash because I go, he already exists. He's me. We're both there.
I would like to change my answer from Marty
Look
McFly.
at the way I saw
okay.
it.
I would like to change my answer from Marty McFly to Chewbacca. Muscle, sidekick, fun.
Prefer that.
I like it.
I prefer that. Look, because you get all your Marty from Lisa. You get all your Marty from Lisa. I think that your Marty was your weakest choice on there. That one, but Chewbacca makes it more
How
interesting.
am I not going to make a
Chewbacca's
Marty
better.
McFly? Come on. Who
I
are you
like
talking
it.
to?
I like it. I like
Yeah,
it.
I like Chewie.
Okay.
Chewie, Lisa, who's your name?
Cameron. That's a crew.
That is a weird fucking car.
And that's a movie. You don't want to watch that movie?
It's going to be a convertible because there's no way you fit in all those people in one little in my
Come on now,
forte.
The Millennium
I
Convertible.
like it. I like that one much better. I like all of our choices. I think we've made good road trip choices. So let's start making some calls. Good luck with the Kelly LeBrock thing. Things have changed just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
But just a tad. Just a
Really?
little bit. Have you seen? What's
Oh,
happening there?
How dare you?
It's different.
Anyway,
We're going to shame Kelly LeBrock. That's how
no,
we're
we're
going
not
to end
going
this
to do that.
episode.
We're not going to do that.
Actually, she might. Of anyone that might be listening, Kelly LeBrock might have stumbled upon this.
Don't
Kelly,
listen to Matt.
Oh, that wasn't Matt talking. That was Nick.
I love you,
She doesn't
Kelly
know our
LeBrock.
voices yet.
I love you, Kelly
It was
LeBrock.
Nick Santa LaCroix.
Okay. Drink another grapefruit sparkle.
It's guava, you cunt.
So this has
me a
been
cunt.
another
So,
episode.
we're gonna end the episode-
of the New Way Podcast.
We're going to end the
Hold
episode
on.
bad mouthing Kelly LeBrock and calling me a cunt.
Second. No, we're going to instead of ending with a cunt.
How dare you?
We're going to end with Ben's lovely children. So this was recorded special for the New Way by Ben's twin girls, Margot and Luna, who have an affectionate nickname for me. We thank you for listening to this week's edition of the New Way podcast, and we leave you with straight from the mouths of babes, Margot and Luna. Cheers.
Cheers.
Get in the car, dude. Uncle Matt's a baby driver.
Yeah, Uncle Matt's a baby driver.
Uncle Matt's a baby driver.
Thanks a lot.
Because he has baby legs.
I apparently have baby legs. All right, thanks a lot, guys. We'll talk to you next week. Cheers.
Road trip!